All right, welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it to NBS Television. You're still watching The Morning Breeze and this is time for the topical discussion. This is your most authoritative morning current affairs show. And still at it, looking at the National Unity Platform and whatever is going on, what is the best way to solve this? Where does this bring? How is it going to come to an end? Various political pundits and analysts have weighed in on the conversation, and today we'll be taking the veterans' perspective, the voices of reason's perspective, as Simon Kagwanjala gets to host one of our very phenomenal guests. And Simon, of course, I'll give you the honors and the opportunity to let you have our viewers know of who your guest is this very morning. Good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning, Mildred. I'm always at home when I come to the home of a veteran politician, a former ombudsman, and one of the voices of reason that you can run to in this country to tap into his nuggets of wisdom on matters politics. This is Honorable Augustine Luzindana speaking to us this morning as the stalemate within the National Unity Platform hits a very epic new low. The bitter exchange, the accusations and counter-accusations, the different mixed opinions that have greeted this, and of course, the kind of tension that is brewing within the country over what was initially a case of five this. Besides, what does it mean to the border politics of the country? Honorable Luzindana, good to have you and a very good morning.
Yes, good morning viewers.
How are you watching this entire dramatic episode?
Well, you know, this new thing of exhibitions on social media has a lot of positive aspects. The parliamentary one is not the first one. There was the other one on potholes. And very soon we saw some trucks coming up to do something about the potholes. Unfortunately, they didn't continue. Then there was something else on health and on other things. And eventually, they have come to Parliament. Now, when they came to Parliament, Parliament is a place where I worked for 10 years.
Yes.
And
you are quite vocal.
I am fairly acquainted. I am not sure that there has been a lot of changes. But I was in the first Parliament after the new constitution came into force. And we put in place a lot of things that were not there at that time. For example, the previous parliament did not have proper remuneration. It was a quasi-parliament, it was a quasi-party organ, and actually the chair, and who was the speaker at that time, was the president, and it was chaired by the vice chairman of NRM at that time.
Chigong.
Yes. So they didn't have proper salaries as such. They had small allowances, sitting allowances, and so on. And so meticulously we went into rationalizing those things, and we came up with a package for Parliament. Now, the Constitution had given power to Parliament to fix its own remuneration and other benefits, mainly to make it independent from the executive, so that it doesn't become a pawn of the executive fixing their remuneration. That's where that independence comes from.
It's been abused?
Well, eventually it has been abused, but the purpose was to make it independent from the executive, because whoever fixes your salary actually controls you. And in this case, it was since the executive has the Minister of Finance, Central Bank, the President, the CA thought that the organ representing the people should be as independent as possible. And that's where that power comes from. And so we did put a salary for members of parliament. Then we also said a member of parliament is a resident in his constituency. So he was given an allowance for coming to Kampala for meetings, and that was the biggest package. That was the biggest package. And then a transport allowance to go back. There it was. That transport allowance is not. That is your work. That is the core of your work. There was no sitting allowance for committee. From 96 to 2001, 5 years. For being members of committees and so on. This came much later. We didn't get free cars. The cars we got.
The package for cars.
No, we got a car. The only thing that the government did for us was to negotiate a low interest rate, 12%. We got cars and paid for them slowly at 12% interest. There was no free car. And so all these things came much later, and we were not pensionable.
So you're literally saying there was no extravagance?
No, I'm telling you about the benefits of members of parliament. We were not pensionable at that time, so we got a gratuity on the salary as the and for some people it was paid monthly, but gratuities can also be paid at the end of service. Now it looks as if when a pension scheme came into place, also the gratuity is paid. That is not normal. You don't have a gratuity is normally a percentage of your salary, 30% or 40%, and so on. And that the ones on pension don't get a gratuity. At the time you get your pension, before you retire, they give you a lump sum, but that's part of your pension. Now all these things are now there, and I see other things which are quite abnormal. So the revelations I have seen in the exhibition were not only about Mpuuga. Mpuuga came in because the party took up the case of Mpuuga and recommended certain things. And so Mpuuga has become the focus. But I think the focus should be the pattern of expenditure within Parliament.
So the country seems to be missing the big picture.
The big picture is being missed. I will not go into individuals because all these individuals are actually my friends. The speaker was my partner when we stood to go to the East African Legislative Assembly, and we won. But at that time, the parties, the authorities then decided that our party would not be represented in the East African Legislative Assembly. So the speaker was, then the deputy speaker, then the clerk, then and then of course Mpuuga. All these people are my friends, so I don't want to go into individuals. But if you look at the
so broadly, the country should be looking at the extravaganza in Parliament.
Not only the country, even the public and the media, and then officially, I have seen the IGG has declared that they are going to look into 1.7 billion. That means what was going to be paid to the commissioners and others in the parliamentary commission.
Yeah, but the commission enjoys the mandate.
Yes, but what has come out in the picture on the social media is actually the expenditure pattern in Parliament. And that needs to be looked into. And so in addition to to what the IGG is going to look at, I think there should be a special audit. A special audit which looks at the general management of Parliament. It has got, of course, to have a time period. And now this Parliament came into...
But interestingly, who would be probing who?
No, the Auditor General is independent.
No, but he reports to Parliament.
The reporting aspect is different. The reporting aspect is different, but
the Auditor General is employed by Parliament.
No, the Auditor General is employed by the government of Uganda. And but the office of the Auditor General is an office that assists Parliament in to look at what has happened to the funds that were appropriated by Parliament. And in carrying out that aspect, the Auditor General is independent. Now, I have seen questions being asked, who audits Parliament? There is a process of appointing an auditor for Parliament, which is done in Parliament, and through the Auditor General as well.
So in calling for an audit, what exactly do you want?
Special audits are there. They will usually be given terms of reference, and then they are carried out. And I think it would be looking into the term of this Parliament from the time it started. Once you stretch it, then the length if we go to the previous Parliament, it becomes a lot. The one at issue is this one, which has been exposed in the social media by the exhibition that is.
Yeah, but what is playing centrally now is the issue of 500 million that was given to, or rather that was awarded to Honorable Mpuuga as a payoff, a retirement package that is putting him at loggerheads with the principal, the party president.
Yes, but if you have seen what has happened, there is partial information about that one, and the pieces are coming in, and the pieces don't help in the management of what has happened, because it looks he has not received the money. But the party decision was that he should return the money and resign.
Return the money, step down from being Commissioner of Parliament, and apologize to the country.
And apologize to the party. Now, he can't return what he has not received. But the better way is actually now to look into what happened. What is his contribution in that budget item? Did he propose that should be created, or he went to a meeting where there was an agenda already and discussed with other people and so on?
Do you imagine the party is acting in haste?
I don't like to discuss internal matters of an organization I don't belong to, and even if I did, I probably would not discuss them here. But I think there was action recommended on insufficient information, and now that time has passed and we see there is information that was still required, let's give the opportunity to the IGG to find out exactly what did happen. But also, there must be more comprehensive action with regard to the expenditure pattern within the organ of parliament.
Yeah, but what is also coming out clearly is the conduct of the principals. Do you think the reaction from the party president towards his deputy was appropriate?
That is not my business. I really do not know the provision, the disciplinary provisions within the party. So I wouldn't want to comment on decision-making mechanisms within an organ. But the general point I can make is that when you have a party leader with the background of for example, the sector in which he has been, celebrities act differently. Everything is for the consumption of the public. And this looked to have been something for the consumption of the public. And it has incited action and counter-action by the public, by members of the party. And probably if I was to advise, you see now, you tell the public about me being a politician by IGG and so on. But now I am an elder, so I can advise everybody. And if
Precisely, so we actually call you a voice of reason.
And if I was to advise, I think people should now reflect. They should take a second thought and say, okay, this has happened. Should it become disastrous to the loop? Because if it continues this way, it will be. Because I have already seen counterattacks on the principle. I have seen in the social media they are already raising the issue of the tax waiver on his car. They are already raising the pattern of life of parties all the time and going out of the country all the time. And I have seen so once that happens, attack and counterattack and so on, you can see what happens to the FDC, for example. Now it is split. It is split. The question of coming back together is probably out of the question. And the way things are going now, if they continue along those lines, that is what will happen. Yeah, there will be some other destruction.
Who do you think would summon these people to get back to sanity?
They have top organs. They have top organs. They should now say, is this the way to go? You see, Kuemura, a person, when you start from that level of attack, of finishing someone, there will be a defensive mechanism, and then defenders also will go to the extreme, and that will lead to now, for the general political life of the country, that is not good. We need some sort of harmony within organizations, nationally, at the national level,
yeah, but
between organizations.
When you look at the storm that is brewing within the party, a young, vibrant party, do you think they are measuring up to the expectation of being a formidable force that looks up to change?
This is too early to say. How old are they? They started with a small party that was already there. They have revitalized it. They did fairly well in the elections. They have not yet managed to make the party cohesive as an organization. And now this has come in. This has come in before the organizational form is strong enough So they need to sit back and reflect and say, let's not go too far now. Because I've seen they were trying to have alliances with others. How do you have alliances with others when you are in chaos? And even the other one now can't have alliances. You can't have an alliance with FDC when it is in chaos.
How about
You can't have an alliance with NUP when it is in chaos. Now, some of us who have been recommending a national dialogue, now, if somebody was to convene a national dialogue with structures that are in a chaotic situation, how do you and you can see now all the political structures outside the government are in a chaotic situation. DP is in a chaotic situation. Part of it is in government, part of it is outside, part of it is in NUP. UPC is in a chaotic situation. It is in government, it is out of government, it is in court between factions, and so on. Now, those of us who are saying, let's have a national dialogue, with whom? There must be clear participants.
So, in essence, you're saying the current dispute within the National Unity Platform is complicating national politics?
No, it's not only the one in NUP. In all the parties of the major parties outside the government, there is now chaos.
Did you ever envisage such a scenario to happen, that a president comes out to rebuke his deputy in public? Could it be a nurturing problem?
Yes, when there are factionalism, that is what happens. In Zimbabwe, this is what has happened.
The MDC?
No. In the MDC now is not the big one, because the main opposition leader had to form something outside of any MDC, and when he formed it, now somebody has come and actually disabled the opposition and got quite a number, almost 20 MPs out of parliament, and also disabled them so that they cannot stand for by-elections. I mean, this is happening in very many places.
To what extent would you sense that this current situation is a foretaste of another breakaway that is imminent within the opposition?
The main contributing environment now is the fact that the political players outside government have come to a realization that it is not possible to succeed. Succeeding meaning that you can take power through elections, for example. There is a realization that cannot happen. And once that realization takes place, then it is very difficult to motivate people. And so you can see they are fighting for positions within the state structure. Not to take over power, not to win power, no. They are fighting for what they are in what they become outside the state structure.
So is it more of a power struggle than a fight against corruption?
It is a power struggle. It is a power struggle. You have seen in the response of
Mpuuga.
Yes, he alluded to certain problems and so on, and so there is a brewing power structure.
How serious should the country be in scrutinizing the tone of Mpuuga's letter in reply, where he talks about family-led politics, spite, envy, and lack of transparency within the leading opposition?
Those are signs of internal problems that were quiet, that are being brought up by this program. And so, what do they say? They tell you that this is not going to be a viable vehicle for the opposition to succeed in winning power. And that is the message that is being projected to the public. That's the message.
Would you compare the current dispute within FDC, rather within NUP, to what befell FDC?
At the time, General Muntu was still in the party. That is something like it.
Well, we'll take a break, and when we return, we'll be looking at how better can parties navigate such storms, and his prediction of where all this is likely to end. Good morning. Well, still having a conversation with a veteran politician, sharing his insights on the current spat, on the current tensions that are growing within the National Unity Platform between the two principals, the president and his deputy. Well, there's been a lot said about the manner in which he was asked to step down. Then later, we saw him standing on two platforms, openly castigating and saying President Museveni has infiltrated the National Unity Platform. How gross is this, in your opinion?
But you see, me, I am not really concerned with the political parties. These revelations have undermined the institution of parliament. The stature of parliament has got to be restored. And there is need for the things that have been revealed to be investigated thoroughly by the IGG, by the Auditor General, so that the place of Parliament, the respect of Parliament is restored. The issue of the former leader of the opposition and so on, yes, at an individual level, it's not, the way it has been handled is not good. Trying to destroy a person who has been held in very high esteem.
Do you find it baffling that the Mpuuga who was sent off from the office with a standing ovation in Parliament, with all the praises for all that he had done, is now the one who is being ridiculed as being corrupt, a big thief, and a traitor?
Not only being ridiculed, being destroyed as a person and as a political leader. That is on something that is not fully established. The first assumption was that he had received the money, and we later find out he hadn't received the money. The flaw on his side is that he was present in a meeting where the decisions were made. That is. But we don't know what he said. That's what an investigation would find out, whether he actually agreed with that in the meeting.
You've been very instrumental in the formation and management of parties, especially with the Forum for Democratic Change.
No, even with NRM and
is it typical of parties to work on rumors and sheer allegations?
There are many things at play now. There is experience. There is experience in how you handle internal contradictions. There is experience because you identify what is at issue. Is this a thing over which the party should be messed up? Is it so major that the party should be messed up?
Is it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. People would have... I think there was already tension within the party, And when this came up, they said, now we have found something. And when they discuss it, you can see that the decisions that are made are made with not with extreme caution, no, but with a lot of vigor on the refund, on the resignation, on the apology, and so on, and without regard to the repercussions to the organization.
Let's look at these two protagonists in the fight. Who is Mpuuga to New Politics?
But who are the protagonists?
There is Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi on one side. There is Honorable Mpuuga on the other side.
I am not sure this is. I think there is.
These are two political giants.
No, I think there are factions. I've seen the response of Honorable Shagwana. I've seen the silence of the current rope. I have seen it is the general membership that comes out, and I haven't seen Mr. Nyanzi saying anything. Mr. Nyanzi is a very important person in the party. I haven't seen a statement by the Secretary General.
You think their silence is telling?
I haven't. So
you think their silence is telling, right?
Well, yes, it is, because people would have said, please, don't cease fire. Let's not destroy the party. But I've seen the language in social media against Honorable Mpuuga. It is not something designed, if he had made a mistake, to redeem him. No, the thing is to destroy him. You can see. And so some people have come up to defend him.
Do you think Mpuuga is redeemable?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that is a terminology that should be used. He hasn't. He's not.
He's crushed.
In
the court of public opinion, Mpuuga is a big thief.
But of what he has not. That's why there should be soberness. What are things at issue? What is at issue now? Now, he hasn't received the money apparently. So how does he become a thief yet? So what does he apologize for? And so the main thing is here, people got heated up before they got information. Now, having got information, people should reflect and say, I think we may have made a mistake. Let's reflect. Okay. You can't go on and destroy something. Okay. No. And you can see it has happened in the FDC. Have you seen the long-running struggles within UPC?
Does this...
In court and so on. You know, there is a parallel president and then there is one known by the public, but the struggle is there. Every day something comes up about Mao being in government, about and so this is a general disorganization.
Okay.
In the parties outside
this episode
government.
Bring out the amateurishness or seniority of the two players?
No. It is improper analysis of the current political situation. Because when you are in leadership, and the leadership is usually broad, you have got to analyze the situation, then you have got to know the tasks before you and how to achieve whatever your objectives are. The objectives cannot be self-destruction. And you can see they are on the path of self-destruction. All of them, NOP, FDC, UPC, DP, all of them on the path of self-destruction.
To what extent does
now,
the current...
if you are in this environment, elections are on the horizon. How do they raise funds? How can anybody give them funds now? How can an ordinary person in the public come up and say, I am going to support this? What are their objectives? What are you going to support them for? This is the whole problem. It is self-destruction.
So the party is now in shambles. Do you see their future as bright or bleak?
Yeah, they can, of course, they can see
it. It can't be internal.
It has got to be internal.
Do you dismiss the notion that the same Suvi that has been disruptive to national politics is regrouping now to crush the nation into platform? No,
Suvi at the time it was active was also a reaction within DP on what had happened with regard to the leadership. They objected to the leadership and then formed an informal structure to continue surviving politically. And now Subi partially went to NOP. And it is still Subi, I suspect.
But they're a big factor.
They are a big factor, of course.
And Honorable Mpuuga epitomizes Subi.
NOP stands on the legs of DP, of Subi. The NOP that was procured from Chibarama had no legs. And so they went and they are on the legs of DP Subi, and now Subi is under attack. So what with where are the legs?
So Bobby Wine is crippling his own legs in attacking Mpuuga.
Well, if there had been the legs had expanded, the tentacles, let's say to Soga, to the north, to the then you can afford. But I saw the vice president of the north complaining.
Zedriga.
Yes, I saw. She's in charge now that the principal has traveled, but I had also seen complaints from her. Now, that calls for internal reflection. How to correct mistakes. How to correct the further attacks will not help. And this is not limited to NOP.
But there is also a sense that NOP was overrated from day one.
No, within a very short time, they became the largest party in parliament.
Was it accidental, you think?
No, it was quite an achievement. It was quite an achievement. How they made it, probably the conditions no longer exist. But there is no competitor. The other competitors have finished themselves either. Where is FDC now?
And NOP is now taking the same route.
It is taking the same route. And yet, it does not mean that their support is not there. Their support is there. Now, NRM of course is now virtually the same, and a new movement has arisen there, and its nature is not yet quite clear. So the political environment in the country is quite confused.
Such times would normally enjoy voices of reason, like you, a veteran politician, to intervene and bring and restore calm.
How
would you be keen really to engage these people?
When there is so much noise like in a market, and you have someone playing good music on a guitar, how will it be listened to in that market situation?
The noise is too much.
Yes, and this is the same. Have you ever received a call when there is too much noise? You have got to move quite far in order to be able to talk. And in this particular case, I was actually quite apprehensive whether I should say anything, because I have seen, I have seen the abuses people get when they saw anything. I saw someone. There is a general who is on social media like me. Someone say, you, what do you know about the situation in Congo? And it was at a time when the UPDF was actually very knowledgeable about the situation in Congo. And somebody now, everybody on social media is an expert. This is what social media has done. And you now, have you seen now the problem of New Vision? New Vision is in a crisis. I think they are not responding properly to the environment of the changes. Now, this is what in the political area people have got also to analyze. Say, where information is available instantly to everyone, how do you lead?
You'd rather sit on the fence? You'd rather sit on the fence than being victims of the new political culture?
No, you have got to find out how you lead. You've got to find out how you lead. You come out once in a while with a statement which can provide a discussion point for the ordinary one. But when you are part of the abuse, and that's why this exhibition thing, people should take it quite seriously. It's a new innovation. People have analyzed it. I can see the ones leading it are quite intelligent people, and they have said this is the way this tool can be used, and they are using it. And they are using it, and so, for example, government would take heed and say, okay, these ones actually they are a friendly force to government, in the sense that they are giving they are giving information and direction, saying this area needs action, this area needs action, and also for the public. For the public, this is information they would never know.
As we get out of here, what if you were Mpuuga at such a time? What would you do?
I would not have answered as quickly as he did, for example. I would have had an appointment with the leadership of the party and explained. I would have made a statement in Parliament and for the discussion of the members.
What if you
I would have asked Parliament to make an official clarification.
What if you were Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi? What would you do?
If I was in his position, I would have talked to him person to person, not in a very large meeting. And then, after we have talked, then we would call other leaders, and we communicate and discuss what we have come to.
Do you read an animosity between Mpuuga and Bobi Wine?
Whether it was there before, I don't know, but now there is.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of The Morning Breeze, the topical discussion. The conversation continues. How best can NUP navigate the current tough times? Good morning.